Today I'm going to show you how to create an iPhone inside of Adobe Illustrator. So what I've done is I've opened up a new document. It's RGB and it's the default 800 by 600. It doesn't really matter what size or what color mode. You can use CMYK. So the first thing we're going to do is just create the basic iPhone shape, and to do that we're going to hold down the rectangle tool. We're going to select the rounded rectangle tool. We're going to click around about here. Doesn't matter if you don't get it exact, just around about the size. And the corners, the roundedness of the corners is perfect because I've done this before. But for you, you're going to have to use the up and down arrow keys to adjust it. So if I click down, the curve becomes smaller. If I click up, the curve increases. So what you want to do is increase or decrease the curve so it's perfect and matches up with the iPhone. Just going to reduce the opacity just so I can see through it, and now I'm going to create another box. This time it's not curved, it's just a normal rectangle, and I'm going to go over the screen, and you can nudge that after you create it, and I'm just going to give this a horrible color, like I'll just give it a green. Doesn't really matter what color. And we're going to also create the button now and these other details at the top. So next we're going to select the ellipse tool, and I'm going to just zoom in here. I go to the center, click and start dragging out. Now you want to hold down Alt and Shift. Now Shift is going to make it a perfect circle, and Alt is going to create it from the center. And now we've got our home button. Let me zoom out again. Let's zoom in here. To create these shapes, well, this one's simple, it's just another circle. So let's do the same thing we did for the home button. Hold down Alt and Shift. And now we're going to go to the rounded rectangle tool and do this one. And if you're not seeing the same effect, just keep pressing the up arrow key and you'll get that. So we want it to be about that size. I'll just nudge it down with the down arrow key. You can nudge pixel by pixel with the arrow key, so if you didn't know that, that is a massive help. And we'll also do these buttons quickly. Now for these buttons, we're going to use that rounded rectangle tool once again, but this time we don't want that amount of roundness, so we're going to click the down arrow key. Just hold it down until you get a perfect rectangle, then you can click down once, or actually just once, that this document size is perfect. And we'll just create about that size. And what we're going to do now is just cut that off. So make sure your Pathfinder panel is open. If it isn't, go to Window, Pathfinder, which is here, or Shift Control F9. We're going to create another rectangle. It doesn't matter if it's rounded or just a normal rectangle, and just drag it so it goes up to about here, the edge of the iPhone. And whatever this rectangle is covering on this shape is going to get cut off. So we select both shapes by clicking the first one, holding down Shift, clicking the second one, and in the shape modes we'll click the second one, which is subtract or minus front, and as you can see, it cut that out. Okay, so let's create the buttons for the side of the phone. Now we'll go back to that rounded rectangle tool, and it's in the same setting as this button at the top, so it's perfect. We'll click and drag that out. We'll click and drag this one out, and we'll click and drag this one out. And now we'll do the same as we did for the other button, create that rectangle, and in fact I'm going to click the selection tool, or you can hold down Control to have the selection tool temporarily, and hold down Alt and Shift as I drag, and that will copy that shape, and I'll do it again, and I'll copy the shape again. Now for each of these we select the pair and subtract it. Select the pair, subtract, and one more time, and this way we have our buttons. Don't worry if they're not perfectly aligned, we'll fix that all up at the end. Now one more thing I'll do is I'll go down here. I'm just going to lower the opacity of this home button just so I can see through it a bit, and I'm going to create that icon here, so the rounded rectangle tool, and I think hold down shift, by the way, to keep it a perfect square. I think that is pretty good. I'll just move it up. I'll also give it a white fill, a white stroke, remove the fill, and just leave it at that 1 pixel. Don't forget you can nudge it to align it. And let's zoom out. Now I'm going to select everything here and hold down shift and then select the background image and then move all of this to the side. So this is what we created, and if we select it all, we'll just go opacity and type in 100, press enter, and that will bring everything up to 100. Now I can already see some mistakes. The screen isn't aligned, the buttons are bumping off, but that is all okay because we'll fix that now. So I'm just going to select these shapes here, the home button icon, the iPhone itself and the screen, and I'm going to click the align center button, and that will just make sure it's all aligned perfectly. For these buttons, it's okay that they are off the iPhone. In fact, I'm going to push them off the iPhone because we still have to do all that detail around here anyway. So let's start applying some gradients and detail to make it look like that iPhone here. Okay, so let's select the main iPhone shape and go to gradient. We're going to select the default one, and we'll go from dark grey, so this one here, to a complete black. And using the gradient tool, we'll click down and go up. So we've got the darkest color here, and the lighter color here. Press Control and click off. We'll zoom into this button here. I'm holding down Control to get the selection tool, by the way. We'll click this home button. We'll also apply a gradient. This time we'll go black to something light, something about there. I'm holding down Control Alt Spacebar and clicking to zoom out, by the way, and you can compare it to the iPhone image. And I'm going to make that icon a tiny bit smaller, so I'll select it, I'll make it a tiny bit small just by holding down Alt and Shift, and I'll put the opacity to about 80%, maybe even 60. That's looking much better. Now I'm going to click on this iPhone shape once again and go to the appearance panel. We'll apply a black one at 3 pixels. Let's zoom in so we can see it. We'll increase it a slight bit more, maybe a 4, and then we're going to click here and add a new stroke, and this time we're going to make it 3 pixels, and we'll make this one a light grey, and click on the stroke button and click on the align stroke to outside. That way we have a 4-point black stroke and a 3-point white stroke over it, making that black stroke in fact 1 point. Okay, looking good so far, and I think this wraps up part 1 of creating an iPhone in Illustrator. Stay tuned for part 2 where we'll complete the iPhone. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.